All right, today we're going to be looking at 13.4, which is special factoring techniques. All right, I do want to do a couple review questions from 13.3. So I want to first look at 5x squared minus 32x minus 21. Again, always look for that greatest common factor, but I can see that there is none. So I would then multiply my a times my c. Remember, this is a, b, c. So I do 5 times negative 21. That would be 105, or actually negative 105. And then I'm still trying to add to negative 32. So again, just go through the process. 105. You're trying to multiply to a negative, so 1 has to be a negative, and you're adding to a negative, so the bigger number has to be negative. But that gives me negative 104. 2 doesn't go into it. 3. So 3 goes into it. Let's see, it's 3 times 35. So 3 minus 35 is negative 32. So there's my winner right there. So then it becomes x plus 3 and x minus 35. Don't forget we have to divide by that a. So I'm going to divide both of them by 5. I can't reduce the fraction like I can't reduce 3/5. I move the denominator over and it becomes 5x plus 3. 35 divided by 5 is in fact 7. So that was the first one. I want to review one more. So let's look at now 24x squared plus 87x minus 36. Let's see, it looks like that would be 3. Does 6 go into it? No. So this right here would be 3 as my greatest common factor. So that would become 8x squared, because I would divide each one of these by 3. And then that would be, is that 2, 9? Because 3 can go into 8 2 times with a remainder of 2. Then 2 goes into, or 3 goes into 27 9 times. X and was that 12? So now when I'm working my box, or not my box, my t-chart, I'm figuring out what 8 times negative 2 is, and that gives me negative 96. And then I need to add to my b, which is 29. So again, I'm just going to go through the process. So this is 1 and 96. To multiply to a negative but add to a positive tells me my smaller number is going to be negative. So that gives me 95, which is not it. Then I'll try negative 2. 2 goes into it 48 times. So that gives me 46. Then I do negative 3, and that would be 32. So that would be 29. So there's my winner right there. So then I get x minus 3 and x plus 32. Then I'm going to take the a and I'm going to divide it by 8. So this becomes 8x minus 3. And then 32 divided by 8 is 4. So I'm going to say x plus 4. And then I'm going to drop down my 3. All right, so I just wanted to quickly kind of review those things before we got into 3.4. 3.4 just factoring techniques for binomials. So for instance, if you have something that looks like this, 7ax squared minus 343a, the first task is always, is there a greatest common factor? So hopefully you're like, well, 7 Looks like it goes into 343. Let me see if it does. It does 49 times. So I can factor out a 7, and then I see they both have an a. So I can factor out a 7a. So I'll divide both of them by 7a. So I'm left with x squared minus 49. And then to factor out a binomial, there's a thing called a difference of squares. And the goal of this is you can look at this and go, what number times itself would multiply to this term here? And then one would be a positive, one would be a negative. So the term goes like this. So it's like a squared minus b squared equals a minus b times a plus b. What I've learned with my other kids is that instead of trying to memorize this, you can actually still apply the t-chart to this process. You will multiply to your c, which is negative 49. But when you add to your b, that's what your c is, there is no b, it's missing. So it'd be 0. So your goal is to come up with two numbers that multiply to 49 but add up to 0. And the only two numbers I can think of is 7 and negative 7. That would multiply negative 49 and add to 0. So these would be your factors. So it just becomes x plus 7 and then x minus 7. And then, of course, you would divide by whatever the number of the a is, but there isn't one. So then I'm just going to drop down my 7a. That's all you have to do. So we've learned that this process is a little bit easier than memorizing this part, because then it's the same thing that we've been doing. So let's look at some others. Let's look at y6 minus 100. No GCF. So I'm going to try this right here. So I'm going to multiply to negative 100 and add to 0 since the term is missing. And that would be negative 10 and 10. The only issue here is, notice a lot of ours that we've been dealing with are squares. If you have a 6, you just have to divide it by 2. And so when you rewrite these two binomials, instead of y minus 10, it'd be y cubed minus 10 and y cubed plus 10. And the reason is when I FOIL this back out, or box method, y cubed times y cubed would give us that 6 squared. So this part was added. All right, let's look at another one. Let's look at x squared plus 25. Now, when looking at this one here, you can try to do your t-chart. You're trying to multiply 25, add to 0. The only thing that multiplies to 25 is 5 and 5. I can't make one negative because the result was positive. I can't make them both negative because I need to add to 0. So when you end up in this situation right here, this is not factorable. All right, let's try another one. Let's look at 45x squared plus 20. So again, you always start with that GCF, and looking at it, looks like 5 can go into it. So I'm going to divide each one of these by 5. So that becomes 9x squared plus 4. And then again, just to give you a clue, if there's a plus sign, I can't go any further. So I would actually stop there because the 9x squared plus 4 can't be factored any further. Alrighty. So let's look at some more. We have z squared plus 40z plus 400. So on this part here, I would multiply to 400 and add to 40. So I can go through the process of 1 to 100, and you would eventually get to 20 times 20. That multiplies to 400 and adds up to 40. So then this just becomes z plus 20 and z plus 20. If you end up with the exact same binomial, we can actually rewrite it as z plus 20 squared, since there's two of them. All right, let's try another one. We have y squared minus 14y plus 49. So again, I go through the process. I want to multiply to 49 and add to negative 14. So looking at 49, I can see that's going to be 7 and 7, but to add up to negative 14, they would both need to be negative. So then I get y minus 7, y minus 7, and since they're both the same, I can say y minus 7 squared. Let's look at another one. 3x squared z minus 18xyz plus 27y squared z. So remember, the first thing we want to do is look for a GCF, and I see that that has a 3. They do not all have an x, a y, or a z together. Oh, I lied. They do have a z together. So I'm going to pull out a z as well. All right, so now I'm going to divide all of these by 3z. So 3's will go away, z's will go away. I'm left with x squared. Z will go away. 18 divided by 3 gives me negative 6xy. The z's go away. 27 divided by 3 is positive 9y squared. All right, so not really paying attention to the letters, but we can still pay attention to the numbers for right now. Still want to find two numbers that multiply to 9, but add up to negative 6, and that would be negative 3 and negative 3. So when I write this result out, it would start off with x like it always does, and you would have your minus 3 like it should. But when there's a second letter over there being squared and they're combined in the middle, you just have to add it to the end as well. So what this does is 3y times 3y gives you that 9y squared, but while you do the box method inside, you would get the in between. And then we're not going to forget our GCF. There you go. Let's try D. Y squared plus 8y plus 16 minus z squared. This is a funky one right here. All right, so what we can do is just focus on this part right here. And then we'll bring this in just a second. So what this can become using the t-chart, so we can multiply to 16, add to 8. That's going to be 4 and 4. So I get y plus 4. And since there's two of them, I can go ahead and say y plus 4 squared minus z squared. All right. I would actually think this is a pretty good stopping spot. However, they want you to go further. So when this happens, since these are both perfect squares, what I can do is I can go, all right, well, since I have two of them, I'm going to write both of them out. And since I have two z's, to make it a negative, that would mean that one's positive and one's negative. So I can say plus z, and over here I can say minus z. And that would still give me that negative z squared and the y plus 4 in the middle. So that would be the end result that they're trying to get you to get to. So this one can be a challenging one if you don't see the patterns. All right, let's look at some more. For A is y cubed minus 27. So this is called a sum and difference of cubes. So this one, I don't have a trick for this one. So this one you're going to have to memorize. But sum and difference of cubes. So a cubed minus b cubed would just be a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. And then a cubed plus b cubed would be a plus b. And then a squared plus ab plus, not plus, minus ab plus b squared. To help you remember the signs, we have this thing called SOAP. So SOAP. S stands for same. O is opposite. And AP is always positive. So if I have a positive, this will be the same sign, opposite sign, always positive. Because you can see that the patterns are all the same. The only thing that's changing is the signs. So then from here, you have to figure out what the A and the B is. And then you just plug it into the formula. So your A is going to be the cube root of the first term. Now, cube root means what times itself 3 times would give you that result. Well, I can see that I could do y times y times y, and that would give me y cubed. Or I could also see a cube and a cube root will cancel each other out, and I'd be left with just a y. B would be the cube root the cube root of 27. I'm not going to worry about the signs because the sign will be taken care of over here. But I can see then that this would be what number times itself gives you 27? Well, that'd be 3 times 3, which is 9, times 3 again, which is 27. So this would be 3. So I'm going to write this answer out using this formula. That would be y minus 3. And then that's a squared. Well, a is y, so that becomes y squared plus ab. So that's y times 3. So that's going to be 3y plus b squared. Well, that's going to be 3 squared. So that's going to be 9. And that right there would be your factor. This trinomial right here cannot go any further. That will be as far as it can go. All right, let's try some more of those. And then I feel that you would have everything you need for the homework. All right, so looking at B, we have 8y cubed minus x to the 6th. Again, I'm going to find my A and my B. So A would be the cube root of 8y cubed. So when I look at this, I go, what number times itself will give me 8? So that's 2 times 2, which is 4, times 2, which is 8. So that'd be 2. And then I can see the cube and the cube root would cancel, and I'd be left with y. Then work on your B. Your B would be the cube root of x to the 6th. And so here what happens is you can actually take this number and divide by the number inside. So 6 divided by 3 is actually just x squared. These are some of the concepts that they kind of expect you to have already known coming into this, but I'll work this through with you. So this right here becomes then, because it's a minus, I follow the top one here. This would then become 2y minus x squared. And then it becomes a squared, so that's 2y squared, which is 4y squared, plus 2y times x squared, so that would be plus 2x squared y. And then it would be b squared, so that's going to be x squared squared, and that ends up being actually x to the fourth since it's squared squared. All right. Last one. C is 48x to the 12th minus 750. So again, you always want to look at that and see, is there a GCF? I know 2 can go into it. Not 4. I'm not seeing 6. So I think that 2 would be the greatest common factor. So that'd be 24 because I divide them all by 2. So this would be 24x to the 12th minus 750 would be 375. Well, maybe it's 6. Does 6 go into this? Oh, it does. All right, let's try that again. I think 6 is our greatest common factor. So that would be 8x to the 12th. And then 6 goes into 7 one time with a remainder of 1. 6 goes into 15 two times with a remainder of 3. And then 6 goes into 30 5 times. All right, so then I have this right here. So I would work out A equals the cube root of my first term. So again, cube root of 8 is 2, because that's 2 times 2, which is 4 times 2, which is 8. And then I'm going to take this value and I'm going to divide that exponent. So 12 divided by 3 gives you 4. Then my b would be the cube root of 125, which is going to be 5 times 5, which is 25 times 5, which is 125. So that's going to be 5. And so then I come over here, that's going to be 6. And then plugging into the formula, this would be 2x to the fourth minus 5, close the parentheses, and then it becomes a squared, so that's going to be 4x to the 8th, because you would apply the square to the 4 as well, plus a times b, so that's going to be 10x to the 4th, plus b squared, which is 25. Right, and then that's pretty much it of 13.4. Well, that's all I got for you today. See you in the next video. Bye for now.